sports for over 20 years. And I've been involved in the sports wagering industry, both in front and behind the scenes during that time. And I started the Insiders Room Discord, where I could have casual bettors, professional, like really serious bettors, and then also professional bettors. And so this Discord has continued to grow, and we've gone on to all the different social media, and we've done some streaming. And so I'm just giving a little history again here. Most people who watch us know this, but for those who don't, this is what we're all about. And one of the major contributors that we've had on the show, and who is a professional, Dan Kaiser from Covers Experts, he's coming on, and we're going to be talking about the NBA. I'll bring him on here now. Is it coming back? We're going to prognosticate about that. We'll look at the proposed shortened regular season, and just talk about some of the odds for some of these teams and some best bets, and we're going to get some content onto the channel. And so, Dan, how's it going, man?
Good, very good.
Right on.
Just hoping they can pull this off and get started next month.
Absolutely.
It's been a while. Kind of boring.
Yeah, but things are returning. The MLS actually just reported that it's returning, and that's to the Orlando complex. Correct? So I think that's where I sort of heard that the NBA was also sort of thinking, but perhaps this would be over. Perhaps this would be over before the NBA's proposed start up there. But anyways, let's just, for argument's sake, because we can't talk about if it won't be going or not, but let's just say that it is going. So what are you thinking when you first when you hear that they're going to, so there's 22 teams and they're going to play 8 regular season games. So it'll be a tournament style from morning to night to finish off the regular season, and then into the playoffs. So what are your initial thoughts there, Dan?
Kind of torn right now from a betting standpoint, because if you look at it, like the Lakers, if they win the first game or first 2 games, what do they have left to play for the last 6?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the West is going to be the best, because you have 4 or 5 teams that are vying for a playoff spot. 6, well, they got 13. Yeah, 4 or 5 teams vying for that playoff spot. So I think you're going to see a lot of good action there, and maybe some good betting opportunities. But again, it's because the teams at the top are pretty much locked in. Mm-hmm. At their spots. Are they gonna use it more as practice to get ready for the playoffs, or are they gonna come out and try hard? So it's gonna be interesting to see the first 2 or 3 games and see actually how it plays out. Or are they even are they gonna be ready to play? It's just gonna be kind of interesting. And I'll probably take the first 2 or 3 games off, like I do at the beginning of any season, just to try to get a feel of what's going on.
Right. No, you make an interesting point because, well, for example, the Lakers all but have the number 1 seed locked up in the Pacific. I was actually sharing that stat with you. With the 8 games left, they would have to go 1-7, and the Clippers would have to go 7-1 to flip flop each other there. So, yeah,
and the Bucks are even easier.
Yeah, or do they keep the pedal to the metal? They've had the time off. They don't need to. It's just full pedal to the metal. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, that's a question. But do you do that? Because who knows what kind of shape these guys have. I'm sure they kept themselves in decent shape, but are they in game shape?
Mm-hmm.
So do you risk playing LeBron all 8 games hard and have him come up with an injury because he's not in game shape? Or it's just going to be interesting because something like this has never happened.
Exactly.
We have nothing to go on, so it's going to be interesting to see.
And so that's why I was making a point in our Discord chat there the other day, just that situational handicapping, obviously, like the scheduling, the motivation, and I mean, we'll get a really good feel of that after seeing them play the first couple of days. But yeah, it should
Right.
be a crazy opportunities there for the insiders room to continue its evolvement into the live wagering market there. We
Right.
did have a successful season. We went 9-2 last year. And so that will give us plenty of opportunity if these are all day things, and especially if the NHL is possibly even coming back. I know we're just sort of focusing on the NBA. Well, then after
But
that,
yeah, I agree. I think that's probably. I agree with you there. I think, and that's why we can use some of our resources, or some of our other people. I think that's where I think you're going to be able to probably do better at the start, is the in-game wagering, than trying to pick a side at the beginning.
right, that makes,
Because
you're right.
then you can get a feel watching the game who's playing what, who's going all out, who's trying to
Yeah,
get ready.
just wait a few minutes and get a better line.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And so, yeah, we'll try to showcase that a lot for people. And I want to have on a lot of different people that would consider themselves some of the best in the
Right.
world at doing that. And so I will hope to have yourself on and some of the other covers experts, but some of the other people in the Discord and in our community and stuff that we're meeting on Twitter and on Facebook and different things, and some of the other guests that I'm going to have on this week as well. Okay, but if you wanted to look at the odds right now for these teams to win, the Lakers are favored at plus 240, and the Bucks are at plus 250.
Yeah, if I was gonna, if you were gonna say what team would I take to win it all, this odds don't matter. I'd be on the Bucks at this point.
Okay.
You
So,
know,
yeah, no, I do you think that the Raptors hold any value at plus 2,000? I mean, they're the defending champs. Their record is, I believe, even exactly the same or better than it was at the point last year when they won the championship. At plus 2,000. Do you think that's tasty enough to take a bit of? I mean,
if I was gonna take a
I
team
mean,
at higher odds, I'd
this is
probably
to
take
win the
Boston.
championship, not the East. So,
Right.
yeah.
I'd probably take Boston. I mean,
That's at plus 1,800.
Toronto's they're playing well all year. I just don't, without Kawhi, I just don't know if they have that one guy when they get to the playoffs that they'll need.
Right.
You got the Greek freak in Milwaukee. I mean, Boston could always go to Tatum. I just don't know who Toronto has. I mean, they've got good players, but they just don't have that guy that I see that would be consistently there to make the shot, the guy to go to.
So what about the Clippers? What do you think about them?
They're good. I mean, they're good. I mean, the West is just so strong.
Mm-hmm.
I think, they got a good chance of coming out. The Lakers have a good chance of coming out of the West, but the West is just so strong. I think it's going to be a lot harder, and I don't know if that wear or tear.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm looking at the odds. I'm trying to I always like to choose upsets and underdogs, which are going to come out and upset these teams. But at the same time, these top teams have had just as much rest, and these players are focused and everything. So, yeah, I mean the Spurs, they lost the services there of
Elridge, yeah.
yeah. So I mean, well, it's interesting. Yeah, the Pelicans are in. They were, I mean, really hot down the stretch there. I mean, the highest scoring. I mean, they had a horrible defense, but they were the highest scoring team there for the last month and a half of the regular season before the shutdown.
Yeah. I mean,
And so that'll be an interesting thing to look at too, is the totals on these games and sort of how the no fans affect everything. And that's another thing where live wagering will be a really big thing. And so we plan to do that a lot here. And yeah, I can't wait to have on anybody who thinks that they are a master of live wagering. I want to showcase these talents and have them on the show. And I'm looking to improve upon my own 9-2 live wagering record. And Dan was a part of that in a lot of our initial shows last year with the NFL. So I don't know. Did you have any thoughts on the NHL as well, or anything? Or
I I've just looked at it briefly because I thought maybe we were going to do another show on that coming up. But
we
the only thing I don't like about the NHL format is about the reseeding
right, the reseeding. So that's after every.
after every round.
Maybe you could explain that. Okay, so after every round they reseed.
Right. So let's say the number 8 seed in the first round beats the number 1 seed, and then the number 2 seed wins. So the number 8 seed, instead of like saying
Getting to
okay,
play like the number 6 seed or whatever.
right, they'd have to play the number 2 seed.
Right.
So they're like, so if the 8 seed wins, every time they win, they'll always have to play the better seeded team. So you're
Right.
not going to get like that, get the worst team coming in the playoffs with a hot goalie and just run. It's because every series is going to be harder and harder and harder.
Yeah.
So I just don't like that because I've talked about doing that in basketball too for a while. I just don't like that. I think if you are the worst seed coming in and you're happy to get lucky, happy to beat the first seed, you shouldn't be penalized for it.
No, that's an interesting point, and yeah, these are all interesting things that we have to keep into account when everything resumes. And I mean, I don't want to prognosticate about baseball at this point. Who knows? But
That one's best.
it does appear for sure that the NBA is coming back, and this is just a small NBA review content show that Dan has come on to talk about, and maybe we could do this the next time we hear for sure that the NBA is coming back. We could then, even sit in on some games, do some live wagering,
Right.
etc., and have some of the other crew back on.
Yeah, because I'd also like to see the schedules
Right,
for the last 8 games.
right.
Because one thing I read is what they're going to do. They're going to look at the games I have left
Hmm.
from the regular, and then work out if you're going to play those teams down in your last games of the regular season before, then you'd play them. That'd be part of the 8 that you play now. I'd like to see how that works out, who plays who, and
Yeah.
know, if the Pelicans play the Lakers in game 8 instead of game 1, is that going to make a difference? Because the Lakers going to rest players. It's going to be interesting when it all does start formulating into a final thing.
Hmm. Did you have any other thoughts or picks or looks about the NBA? We've touched on a few
Right.
different things. We've
I,
looked at a few different teams. You said you did like the Celtics if you were going to choose a different team other than the Bucks, and so
right.
that was at plus 1800 to win the championships. And so, just to come out of the Eastern Conference, it would be less than that, obviously, about half that. Uh, but still, yeah, plus 900 or something. Yeah, I think that's, if we're going to try to choose some underdogs that are going to do that, I think that's pretty solid for sure. Absolutely.
And I think, well, I just like looking at the West. I think New Orleans will sneak in and take the 8th spot, or higher. I think New Orleans will make the playoffs this year.
So what about the Grizzlies? What do you think that their depth and their talent, and they just seem to be getting stronger and more cohesive, and Chris Paul and everyone else on there, John.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably just not enough quite
And
yet.
but Chris Paul worries me. He just,
Hmm.
he always seems like come up with injury problems. He's been sitting off. Don't know what he's been. That's the whole thing. You don't know what these guys have been doing. I'm sure they're working out and whatever, but he's gonna. I can just see him coming back and tearing a tearing a hammy or something early. I don't know.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like Memphis. I just for some reason I just think New Orleans. I think they want New Orleans to sneak in to get in the playoffs. I think they want Zion in there. Let him go against have them go against LeBron the first
Yeah,
round.
exactly. That would be a dream matchup for TV coming back. You know what I
Right.
mean? Yeah. Well, and so what it do you? I mean, clearly, not having the crowd involved is going to affect some players, and for some players, it's not going to matter. You know what I mean? But I guess after a while, they're all going to get used to it, and then I'm sure they'll quickly adjust. Really, but still, that'll be something to keep our eyes on when that does come
Yeah,
back.
I think I think it's gonna. I think if it has any effect, I think it's gonna be have the effect on a team that's trailing big, and they start them on a comeback. You see it in college, you see it in the pros. Like the fans get excited, get behind them, and it just seems to build. And I just if you're down 16, and yeah, you cut it to 12, and it's just a quiet gym. I just don't know if that you know.
Yep.
And sometimes I knock it and just think that's stupid, but then I mean you see it all the time. It just seems like the crowd can energize a down team. So yeah, it will be interesting. It'd be interesting that way after a while if you can get a feel for it for live betting also.
Yeah. No, I think as you pointed out, that's where the value is going to lie throughout this playoffs. Is the live wagering? It's going to be huge. People are going to be doing it from home. And so we're going to be right there. If people are watching the games, you guys can come out and hang out with us. And these guys will be giving out their wagers for nothing on the show. And I mean, just follow along to us and have fun. And that's the whole. That's what the insiders room is all about at this point. It's just to have fun and to try to bet responsibly and to not get gouged by the books on the vig and the juice and so those are the things that we try to push here and to tell all of our viewers and different things to follow those guidelines. And after that, it's yeah, we're all trying our best here to come up with the best picks, and we're doing that in the Discord. And so, Dan, unless you can think of anything else here to speak about, did we miss anything about the NBA? Breaking that down. I mean, we don't know. We can only go by what we know here, and
Yeah, I think to be honest, they said they're looking at July 31st, and it's going to come down. From the last thing I read, it said the base is going to come down to Disney,
right.
and you know, and,
And so that's in Orlando, right?
yeah,
And so that's where the MLS is having their tournament at Disney World. And so that starts on July 8th. But it's a 54 game tournament. And so that's why I'm thinking it could only be 2 weeks long. And then the NBA would come in possibly. I'm not sure. I guess we're going to find out shortly, though,
yeah,
either way.
and I think that's everything. Money talks. So
Yeah.
you know, like the way things, and it's July. It's 30. It's still a month. What, a month and a half away.
Yeah.
Disney could just say, "Oh, we could make more money if we just open the park to everybody and just go back to what we were doing before." I don't see that happening, but yeah, you know,
Yeah.
well, wait and see. I think the next 2 or 3 weeks we'll have a better idea what's going on, better idea of college football.
Yeah.
So I think things are turned around, hopefully. It's just gonna be. I think even in, and I think all the sports are just going to be different, especially with no fans.
Right. Well, Dan, the last time we were sort of getting ready, it was in March, and we thought we were getting ready for the
Yeah.
Final Four, and so here we are now. So Dan, thank you for coming on. If
Yep.
you guys want to see more of Dan, you can check him out at Covers Experts, the biggest pick selling site in the world, basically. And so Dan, yeah, thanks a lot, and I guess
Yep.
I'll just talk to you again in the Discord, man.
Okay, yeah, and if you want to like do a hockey one next week, just kind of the same type of thing, let me know.
Absolutely, let's do that. Let's do a NHL content one because, yeah, no, I've already been looking at a few series prices in that one, and so
Okay.
definitely let's break that down and do another content stream like this. So again, I totally appreciate that, man,
Right.
and I
Yeah, no
can't
problem.
wait to do some live streams with you, doing that live wagering as you were talking about. And so
Yep.
I'll take care,
Looking
man.
forward to it.
Okay,
All right.
later.
See you, mate.
And so that is the NBA breakdown, the NBA restart breakdown. And you guys, tomorrow night we're going to be back because it's week 31 in the Bundesliga, and I'm going to have on AM Plus Money. I'm going to have on EJ the Rainmaker. And so then, until then, I want you to take care, brush your hair. I'll see you when I see you. Peace.